Okay, that's the recording just started. Okay, not sure who wants to start. Maybe, should we go with Marianne, because you're the first one on my screen?
Yeah, sure. No, that's absolutely fine. Well, my name is Marianne Hogg, and I'm one of the advisors at ENSA Advice. Um, so the ENSA Advice Service, a few things just to mention about it. I suppose importantly, we are independent from the university. We obviously have strong links with the university and have good relationships with the different departments, but we are independent, and that's important because it means we have no conflict of interest when we're advising and representing students. Our service is completely confidential, it's impartial, it's non-judgmental. And it is free to access to all students, so there's no charge. Much like the Citizens Advice Bureau, if anybody knows that organisation, we sort of model ourselves a bit on that model. We have 4 advisors. We're all part-time. We all work around about 16 or 17 hours a week, but we do have advisors covering every day of the week. So on any given day, there's somebody that's there to help students who come to us. Obviously, we're all working remotely for now, but when times are normal, in inverted commas, we would have 2 advisors based at the Merchiston campus, and we have 1 at Sighthill and 1 at Craiglockhart. We tend to run on an appointment basis. It's easier for us if we know what's coming up, but we do also take drop-in appointments, which happens fairly frequently, again, when we're back in the office. So students can come to us really with anything that they have that they would like advice on. The 2 main topics that we cover are academic questions and then sort of welfare stuff. On the academic side, I'll just very quickly run through the types of issues that we would deal with to give you guys an idea of the sort of things that you can come to us about and for people to refer to us on. So, one of the main areas would be where students run into difficulties on their courses. If they feel overwhelmed or unable to cope, they often have different options there and they're sort of weighing them up. And we would help with that mainly in a kind of financial perspective. So if students are looking at whether it's the best idea to suspend studies or to transfer to a different course, or maybe even to withdraw or switch from full-time to part-time, for example. Or if it's not as serious as that, sometimes it's just requesting extensions or deferrals, kind of fit to sit type of issues. We would always advise on the implications of each of these options for the student and what the impact would be on them from a point of view of their SAS funding, their student loan, all that kind of stuff. We would tend to get involved in liaising with the school if they need that level of help with their school office, programme leaders, etc., to get a plan agreed for that student. Always with the consent of the student, of course. And we also can liaise with external bodies as well, like SAS, for example. So that's a big area of stuff that we do. We also do academic conduct hearings, fitness to practice investigations. We support students who are called to any type of hearing or investigation at the university. Typical examples would be the academic conduct side, so plagiarism mainly, but also kind of non-academic conduct stuff as well. So people run into difficulties, say in their accommodation, tenancy queries, things like that. And then fitness to practice, which would really only be relevant to nursing students or teaching students, so not anyone from these 2 schools. But we basically explain the process to students, let them know what to expect. It's a difficult time, obviously, if someone's called to a hearing or an investigation like this. So we just interpret the uni regulations for them, and we can accompany people to hearings and represent them. These things are obviously being done virtually just now, which is working very well, actually. But hopefully we'll get back to doing that stuff face-to-face soon. And we can also help with any kind of appeal that might be necessary if the outcome decision is non-favourable. Complaints is another big area that we help students with, complaints against the university, hence why it's important that we're independent from the university. Normally this would be where a student is not happy with the level of service that they're receiving, the quality of the the course delivery, let's say, mainly relevant to sort of postgrad students or overseas students who are paying their own fees and feel they aren't getting value for money. But complaint could be to do with anything, delays in marking or access to learning resources, anything really. So we guide students through that process and assist with all the relevant forms that need filling in and so on. And complaints can come in other forms too. It can be a student complaining about another student. A student can also be the subject of a complaint. If a fellow student or a member of staff wants to make a complaint against them, we would support that student and help them through that. And I think the other sort of main area that we help with on the academic side would be academic appeals. So again, this is quite cyclical throughout the year. There's obviously quite a tight window between programme board decisions being published and then the deadline for getting appeals in. So we just make students aware of those deadlines and we explain the grounds under which appeals can be made, which also are quite tight, and just help them with their AP1 forms and so on. So yeah, anything to do with any academic stuff, that's what we can do, and that's just a broad range. But obviously, if you're in doubt if it's something we can help with, then come to us, and most certainly we'll be able to. Welfare is the other big category of stuff that we advise on. That has become sort of more prevalent recently with what's going on in the world. Probably under normal circumstances, we're 50-50 academic welfare, but we're finding we're dealing with a lot more welfare queries right now. That would be to do with money mainly. So students who are facing financial hardship, we help with accessing the different university funds that are available. So the discretionary funds, the childcare funds, the hardship funds, and the new Find a Fund system, all of that, we basically just guide students through it and help them to apply if they need that level of help. Fees is a big thing we get involved with students, particularly overseas students. We can negotiate with the credit control team on behalf of the student to see if we can get slightly better payment plans for them. And then also just liaising with external bodies as well. So SAS is the main one, but also the kind of Irish and Welsh equivalents where relevant. Welfare benefits, we can help students. Most students won't be entitled to any benefits, but there are instances where they may be, if they have children, for example, or if there's a disability, there may be some funds that students might be entitled to apply for, benefits rather, sorry. Budgeting advice we can do things if a student is in crisis, so food bank vouchers, that kind of thing. So it's always important to remember that we're there. We can make advances sometimes as well if the discretionary funds aren't able to pay out quickly. Sometimes there's quite a long turnaround time on those. So ENSA often is able to advance money to a student more quickly, and then we reclaim it back from the student funding team. And then under the umbrella of welfare is just everything else. So problems with housing, tenancy stuff, be it university accommodation or private accommodation, employment, if people run into difficulties in their part-time jobs, we can get involved there. So, basically everything and anything. We do a lot of signposting as well to Angus and his team, wellbeing, staff, disability team. So I think the main message is, if in doubt, ask, come to us, because we can always help or signpost. So yeah, that's a bit of a whistle-stop tour. Sorry, but
so great. Thank you. No,
if there's any questions, I'm really happy to take them. Thanks.
No, thanks, Marianne. So basically, when you say all that, it makes you realise all the things that ENSA advisors cover and all the help that they can provide as well. So that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we are here to help. That's our raison d'être. So we like to do that, hopefully.
I was just wondering, so this is just a question that I actually have myself. To be an advisor, so do you need to have a background in law? Is that how it works?
Funnily enough, I think we all do. I certainly do. But you wouldn't necessarily have to, no. I think it helps, probably. Yeah, it wasn't one of the requirements for working in this role, but it certainly does help because there's a lot of regulation stuff that we do, a lot of policy-driven things. So, yeah, I think 3 out of 4 of us have got a legal background. Yeah.
That's good. I'm just being curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think what you were talking a lot about welfare and well-being as well. So I think that could maybe just move on to Angus now. I think that works like a perfect transition.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for that. That was really useful description of ENSA. Do so much. I know that we work very closely with you guys, so fantastic. So thank you for that. I'm Angus Mckenzie, and I'm part of the counselling and wellbeing team at the university. My official role is a mental health advisor and CBT therapist, one of the mental health advisors and one of the CBT therapists at university. The team, we offer a range of different services. We offer counselling, we have cognitive behavioural therapy, which is CBT, we have the mental health advisors, we also offer mindfulness sessions, we do drop-ins and deliver various workshops and wellbeing, and we also link in with online resources and facilities, which is things like Silver Cloud and Together All, which we've set up with the university, and to access those often come through the wellbeing service. I'm not going to go into details about what those individual parts of the service are, but certainly they're on my Napier under the wellbeing pages if you're interested, or in that initial assessment. Once you've contacted the service, we would together with the students tease out what concerns are and look at what part of the service is potentially best to help that student going forward, to help that person going forward. In terms of why you might come and see us, I suppose it's a bit like there's a whole range of concerns and struggles and things which might impact us, which reasons to come and see us. I could sit here for the next 3 hours trying to talk about all the reasons why any of us might come and contact the wellbeing team. And it could range from things like stress, anxiety, through to relationship issues, family concerns, just things that are getting on top of us, flatmates, all number of sort of stuff that might be around. So I suppose it's a whole range of issues and concerns and problems and struggles, and why you might come and see us. As I said, there's more information on my Napier, the student wellbeing pages, in terms of what the breakdown of the individual with the service. If anyone's interested, certainly you could email us and we could explore those as well. We'd explore them in the first meeting. And I suppose we offer online support through WebEx or Microsoft Teams at the moment, or telephone support mainly. We do offer a bit of email support as well. We will be working online probably for the next trimester anyway, who knows, but that's the sort of, at the moment, that's the plans. And we obviously work in partnership and alongside various other agencies and departments, university, things like ENSA, careers, disability inclusion team. We work closely with a lot of our academic colleagues as well, which is really important, because sometimes our struggles or wellbeing issues can start to significantly impact on our academic progress, and so it's important that we're working alongside our academic colleagues, and we also work with students as well at ENSA, helping them with
just a second, Angus. I think your mic is not close enough to your mouth.
All right.
Can you very well.
Can you hear me okay now?
That's better, I think. Yeah. Thank you.
Do you want me to repeat what I was doing, or are you?
No,
are you okay
that was fine. No? That was fine.
I must admit, this broke last week, I think, actually, and I've just not got around to getting a new one, so I need to do that. So yes, we work closely with students in terms of maybe looking to defer or go through extenuating circumstances, processes or regulations, or even things like looking to suspend their studies and things like that. We work closely with students, and obviously the keeping on track team, but also ENSA as well in that respect. And our email address is counselling@napier.ac.uk, and I suppose just contact us. If you email us, we can an initial meeting can be set up where we can start to tease out or explore with a member of the team what concerns or struggles are and how best to support you going forward. And if we can't, potentially who else might be able to, either within the university or potentially externally as well. So it's counselling@napier.ac.uk. Please come and see us. We're here in these difficult times. Important. So just come and see us. Come and contact us. And that's me. And I'm sorry if anyone couldn't hear me to start with this microphone. Yes.
No, it's all right. It's all right. No, thank you, Angus. I was actually going to ask you. So it turns out tonight's probably going to be just me. I'll be the student asking all the questions, if that's
Right.
fine.
Good.
What's the difference between CBT and counselling, and what sort of issues is each one geared towards?
It's a very, very, very good question, and I suppose I could give a long answer, and I could be, we're still sitting here, at 10 o'clock. Briefly, counselling, I suppose, is, formally maybe for sort of looking at sort of emotional impact of things and exploring our emotional connection or feelings towards situations or experiences, particularly around sort of relationships, and helping us process and deal with some of those things, and helping us, I suppose, find strategies and ways, and even just through that insights into ourselves, and to lessen the impact that some of these things are having on us. CBT would be, there's obviously some overlap between both of these different formal therapies. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, would have an aspect of that, but it's probably, in a very simplistic ways, it's more about a practical element as well, which counselling wouldn't have, but it's more about looking at, I suppose, the connection between our cognitions, thoughts, our emotions, our physiological reactions to situations, and also our behaviours. And so if we can identify the elements of that kind of vicious circle, then we can either look at slowing it down or changing it or altering it in some way, and through formal exercises, through worksheets, through formal sort of techniques and tools, then we can look at slowing that vicious circle down. That vicious circle can start around about anxiety or worries, or with depression, or a whole range of other sort of situations and scenarios, and it'll be very different for all of us. And that's CBT. And it's less about going back into the past CBT, though there's an element of that, because certainly our past experience will have an impact on our current, sort of thoughts and emotions and behaviours. So it's less about that, but a bit about that. It's more about the here and now, and looking to how we go forward to manage these, cope with these sort of, these cycles of anxiety or depression or stress or worry. And that is what, simplistically, that's what CBT is and counselling are. Does that sound an okay kind of answer?
Yeah, it does. It sounds really interesting. Actually, I'll probably read more about it as well.
Has your team been busier than normal these past few months, Angus?
Very good question. I think we probably have. I don't know if the numbers necessarily are more than normal. I think they're up a little bit, but what I think we have found is that the I suppose the level of distress and well-being issues has certainly been exacerbated, which I think is mirrored across society generally, as in these difficult, challenging times, as we're missing friends or family, and a lot of our kind of social bubbles or networks have either been sort of had to be sort of limited or aren't operating at this moment in time. So there's certainly a lot of stress and anxiety, which has all been ratcheted up a little bit, and certainly if you add academic pressures as well, and just sometimes with Christmas and going home and all that sort of stuff, then there's
a lot going on.
A lot going on, and it'll be mirrored in some
losing
exactly
their job.
yes.
It's another one, isn't it? A lot of part-time work.
Exactly, the financial pressure as well. Yes, yeah.
Well, it's good to know you're there.
But and likewise for you guys too.
Great, thank you. I think should we move on to Katrina, maybe? That's okay.
Yes, thank you. Hi, I'm Katrina Mitchell, and I'm the school coordinator in the school office for engineering in the built environment. So I also have my colleague Andrew McCauley with me tonight, who's one of our programme administrators. So what we do is we basically look after the students' progression through their time at university, in terms of their student record. So we do a lot of work behind the scenes. We set up the system to make sure that every student's programme is set up properly with all the right modules, and that then makes sure that every student is enrolled on the correct modules. And we do the timetable for the school, and we set up the exams. So there's a lot of things that we do in the background, but we also support students, and every student has a programme administrator that they can go to, and that person can help them with their student record if there's anything that they have an issue with. We put the marks in every trimester, and we run the boards, the examination boards, to make sure that the students' marks are all correct and that their progression through the university is correct. So if they have any extenuating circumstances, or if they have to repeat a module, or if they get a compensatory pass, anything like that, we will make sure that we put that in the system and that it all is recorded and correct. We can produce transcripts for the students at any time if they need an academic transcript showing the results so far. We also deal with any letters that a student might need that they can't get from elsewhere. So it could be anything, for instance, if they need to go on jury service, or if they need something to indicate that they're a student and the normal standard status letter doesn't really fit the bill. We deal with suspensions and transfers and withdrawals from the university, and we make sure again that the student record is correct. If a student takes a break from study or wants to change programme or anything like that. We also just support the student with advice. So although we do a lot of the background work, we also are there for students, and we can advise them about any aspect of their journey through the university, and we can help them to identify where they might need other help, such as ENSA or with Angus. So we don't give academic advice, and we don't give wellbeing advice as such, but we can just help students to understand what's happening with them at a particular point of their progression through the university, and explain to them how the administrative side of it works, I suppose. So quite a lot of students will come to us and just to get the facts right before they perhaps then go on to get advice elsewhere. So normally we do see quite a lot of students. At the moment it's lots of emails, but please do email us, SEBEadmin at napier.ac.uk. So, and we're also now taking phone calls, which took us a while to set up, but we are there with that. We can also help students just if they're looking for a particular academic, or they're having a bit of an issue with an academic. We can sometimes liaise between them and the academic and just make sure that that contact is made and communication is set up for them. So that's often very helpful for a student. They can come to the school office where there's always someone there, and we can advise them about the whereabouts of the academics and how long they might expect to wait to receive an answer for them, that kind of thing. So, yeah, we do all sorts really. But yes, any students who need to be advised about anything, come to us too, and if we're not the right people to help you, we can certainly advise you to go to another department or to all the wellbeing and support services that there are. I think that's it. Maybe Andrew might have something to add. But I think that's it in a nutshell.
Perfect. Thank you, Katrina. It seems like you're the one holding a lot of it together. Does that mean when students So obviously I know that there's this point in the year where students receive their timetables and they all want to change it and they want to change tutorials, etc. Are you the person who has to deal with all of that?
Yes, our office does, yes. So we've got dedicated timetablers in the school office, and they can help students just to shift around tutorials and things, or if they can't see their timetable, or if they're not enrolled on the right modules to see their timetable, that all comes back to us to sort out. So any issues like that, where it's, perhaps a glitch in the system or an error somewhere along the way, we can help sort it out.
Great, no, that's good to know. Just because I remember when I was on my program and we would get the timetable with our different tutorials, and you would have all the people who'd get their tutorials on a Friday afternoon and everyone was just trying to swap. But then obviously what would happen is that everyone would end up in the same tutorials, then there would be just, 2 people in the one on Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It's a logistical nightmare.
I was going to say I don't envy you trying to make up the timetables.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll move on to Cheryl now. Good to hear.
Great, thank you. My name's Cheryl Mccready and I'm one of the career development consultants from the Student Futures team. And Student Futures is our university careers and employability service. We are normally based across all campuses. We all have an allocated school that we look after. I'm normally based in C91 at Mckenzie campus because I'm the lead career development consultant for students in the School of Computing as well as the School of Engineering and Built Environment. So you can normally find us on campus, but our service is fully online at the minute, and you can find all of our services through the My Future platform. So across our student futures team, there are a couple of different areas. So I'll just talk very briefly through those and how they can benefit students in different ways. So I'm part of the careers and skills development team, and we are made up of careers consultants and skills development consultants, and we can offer students advice and guidance in different ways. So you can either book a one-to-one appointment, again through My Future, and a short 20-minute appointment to have an initial conversation to help you with whatever stage of thinking about your career and work you're at. So we can offer career guidance and advice on areas such as helping you with your CV. We do mock interviews or interview preparation, helping you to explore options, what options are available with your course and more widely. So we do a lot of that, a lot of helping students to figure out what their next steps might be after graduation. We could offer advice and guidance around securing internships or relevant work experience, as well as thinking about your professional network or thinking about how you want to develop your LinkedIn profile and your online presence. So a really full range of basically anything career related. You can come and book a one-to-one with us. And we can offer some longer 40-minute appointments as well for students that need that little bit more time to really have a proper in-depth conversation about these things. So yeah, and that's something that we would have a chat about in that initial appointment as well. As well as the one-to-one work, we also will normally deliver workshops and lectures on campus, but we're running all those as webinars at the moment, again bookable through My Future, and those online workshops really cover a similar range of topics as what we do on a one-to-one basis, and as well as those sort of more careers topics, my skills development colleagues also run things around resilience, both sort of general resilience as well as career resilience, and dealing with change, goal setting, communication, a number of different areas that can really help students to move forward with your personal and professional development. We can also help students to secure part-time work as well, think about where you might want to find vacancies. So it really doesn't, we're not necessarily just focus on final year students and graduates. We do encourage students of all years from first year to come and use the Student Futures service. Alongside our careers and skills team, there's a placement team, and if you students that have an accredited placement module as part of their programme will be assigned a placement coordinator, and that person is there to really help walk them through the process. So help you with things like how to find placement vacancies, how to apply, get some feedback on applications and CVs, and also to really support you through what you need to do while you're on placement, as well as really making the most of it. So that academic side as well, making sure that all the boxes are ticked and that it's an appropriate placement for your module. So definitely support students on placement side as well. And the other side of our Student Futures team really focuses on employer engagement and graduate recruitment. So we have dedicated employer engagement partners for each school who work closely with industry, with employers who recruit from that area of industry, to really highlight opportunities to show Napier students and graduates the talent that we have within the university, and to tell employers about that, but also to bring employers normally on campus, but at the minute virtually, to meet with students, and to give you the opportunity to network, to find out more about relevant employers, and to really connect you with alumni and all these other things. And they normally take the form of networking events, industry presentations, alumni panels, and often we do site visits as well for students in computing and engineering built environment, where you can actually get out to an employer, see what it's like, get a feel for it. Is that the kind of employer that you imagine yourself working with? Hopefully we'll be running them again next year, once we're back on campus at that point. And one thing that I wanted to really highlight today is that in trimester 2, we will have our Student Opportunities Weeks. And that is something that students in all schools across the university will have. But the School of Computing Week will be week 5, and this Engineering and Built Environment Week will be week 7. And these will provide students in these schools the opportunity to really attend a range of different virtual events that will help you with your career during that week. So we'll have panels, we'll have skills development workshops, and there'll be lots and lots of different employers that are relevant to students in those areas, really putting on activities during those weeks. That's something that we will be marketing all over the place. So you will get much more information about that nearer the time. But we do encourage you to make full use of those activities, to really help you think about, where you want to go. Even if that is a few years down the line, it's really worthwhile thinking about that just now. So like I say, all of our events and appointments are bookable through the My Future platform. And also on that platform, you'll be able to find a link to our Student Futures Career Hub, which is where all of our digital resources are as well. So while you can book appointments and attend events, at general working hours, we know that it's also really great for students to have accessible careers resources at any point in time. So you can do that through the Career Hub. That's where you would find a CV builder, an interview simulator, different quizzes that you can take that will help you to determine your strengths and your weaknesses. So a really, really great resource on the Student Futures Career Hub as well. So I think I've probably covered most of it, hopefully a bit of a whistle-stop tour. Like I say, we really do encourage students of all years to engage with our service. You don't need to already have an idea about what you want to do to engage with us. We're really, we're here to help you as soon as you're in the door. So please do that. We appreciate that. We've actually seen lots more students engage with our service since the pandemic. We appreciate that students are probably a little bit more anxious about, career opportunities. We know there was, some uncertainty over the summer for our most recent graduates. So we've definitely seen more engagement. And this is the time of the year where most graduates should be starting to apply for graduate positions as well. So if you're in your final year, then this is the time that you would be looking to put in applications. Of course, we appreciate that there's a lot going on at the minute as well, so please do come to us for support with that part of your life, for thinking ahead. So yeah, I think that's probably everything.
Thank you,
Happy to answer any questions as well.
That's really good. A lot of stuff as well, and I look forward to Career Opportunities Week as well. That would be great. I didn't actually know that your service also helped students finding part-time jobs, and I don't think a lot of students are aware of that as well. So I think that's really good to highlight it as well, because I know that at the moment that's something that students are really struggling with or quite nervous about, obviously because a lot of the part-time jobs that you would usually get as a student aren't necessarily available right now. So I think that's something that's just really good to know. I was wondering as well, so do you also help students find volunteering opportunities too?
We can do. So we don't have, a bank of part-time jobs or a bank of volunteering opportunities. It's much more about helping students to really think about what opportunities are out there and how they can make sure that they are in the best position possible to secure them. So that might be about developing a really good CV, practicing interview skills, thinking about, are there other ways that you can secure work, for example, through LinkedIn. There's lots of opportunities within the hidden job market, normally, pre-pandemic. So we're really helping students to think about other than, contacting companies through job websites. Are there other ways that you can be looking for part-time work? But similarly, volunteering, we can definitely offer guidance on volunteering and helping students to explore the skills that they would like to develop from volunteering and what might be a really good, appropriate opportunities for that.
Great, thank you. And I think maybe just to finish it off, I was wondering if I could ask you, Ankit, if you wanted to talk about, because you're a student at the School of Computing or the School of Engineering, I can't remember exactly, but if you can talk a little bit about your experience as a student.
Well, at the moment, I am the elected president for this year, and before that, I was studying MSc Computing, and my course title is Computing with Professional Placement, and I was a guinea pig because I was the very first student for that module. So many things I've tried, which I've tried to provide some feedback. Coming to my experience, it's a big program where you can freely ask for modules. So, one of the discussion we were having is when you want to have a timetable or any issues that you got wrong module or these kind of stuff. So that's what I have experienced. I have finished my 2 of the semester. Now I will be going back to my studies in next summer, like in September. That will be for my dissertation and one of the semester which is going to be for placement. So going to that computing aspect, I had a good experience working in, this Murkiston campus and studying in Murkiston campus as well, because our ENSA office is in the same campus. So I have a kind of idea of every bit or every corner because of the events and other aspects which I have attended in whole building. Other than that, if you have any specific question, I'm here.
Cool, thanks. Just to get a little bit of an insight as your experience in those schools. But that sounds good. And I've just popped everyone's contact details on the screen. I hope they're correct. If I've made I'm very conscious that if I've made a sort of spelling mistake somewhere, it'll be very obvious because there's not that much text on the slides. And I was just hoping, I hope there's not a very obvious typo somewhere. I don't think there is, which is good. But thank you so much for the quick presentations. That was great to just have a little insight on how everything works and the different services.
Just to let you know, we got one student here who just approached me for having some consultation. He just had his exam. So we got some students coming up who just finished their exam now.
Nice. That's good. Perfect. I'll stop sharing. I'll stop the recording as well.